Welcome back, and today we're talking about IWGP episode 5. So, like always, let's just jump into it. This episode of IWGP, even though it wasn't what I wanted to see, right? Because I really want this anime to focus more on the gang relations, maybe like a gang war, and we did get a hint of it, so we're going to talk about that. This episode instead tackled a whole different situation, a whole different topic. It tackled the whole immigration from China to Japan, how some Chinese people work very, very hard for little money. So their option is really just to learn Japanese, learn it very well so they can get a chance to come over to Japan, find work, and make a lot more money, right? Like the Japanese people are privileged compared to the people that live in China and struggle while working in the farms for little money. Now, this episode starts off with Makoto's mother kind of being angry at the news because there seems to be about 200 Chinese shops, and they're not joining the Shoppers Association. Instead, they want to create a Chinatown so they don't have to pay, the association fee. Now, all of this is because of a new group or a new gang or a new organization called Donglong. They're like spearheading this whole stuff where they're setting up all the shops. They're sending people to intimidate other shops, to extort them for money, protection money. So Donglong seems to be another gang that the G-Boys might have to take care of later in the future. That's why they were talking about there could possibly be a war. Now, the top heads of the G-Boys and I think it was the Hikabuno group, whatever the name of the group was, the ones that makes all the call when it comes to Ikebukuro town, they haven't decided if they're going to take care of Donglong, but after this episode, something big could happen because Lin, he's the one that handles bringing all the Chinese people over to Japan to get training, and job, and a better life. He was looking for Guo because it turns out if one of those immigrants goes missing from the sewing factory, they could deport everybody. We learned that's not true, that's false. But the leader of Donglong, whenever we met him, we see him saying that if they keep looking for Guo, their life will not be guaranteed. So there's definitely a power struggle here, right? We see that the G-Boys might have to come and protect Ikebukuro from the Donglong group. And after this episode, whenever Lin called China and kind of made like a deal in order to have Guo released from the hostess club, and they told everything to her, Donglong's leader was not happy. He was not happy. He seemed very angry. And he might have enough power to start like a gang war where the G-Boys might have to get involved, especially because he might go after Makoto's mother now because they adopted Guo. They might go after Makoto himself or even the G-Boys. Again, Donglong is trying to expand their territory in Ikebukuro. So this is going to be a problem later on. And maybe this is where the anime starts getting into the part that I want to see, right? More of the gangs, more of the gang war that could potentially happen. Donglong group. Now, overall, this episode was all right. Again, I do relate to this episode because, I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in Cuba. I came to the United States with my father just because we were seeking a better life. Now, my life was nowhere near as hard as it was for Guo. We see that she was out there working in the farms for little money, barely anything. I believe they said something along the lines that the farmers over there where the town that Guo is from, they will make like 30,000 yen or something like that, like for the whole year. That's absolutely crazy. I think that ended up being like $3,000 for a whole year. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I cannot blame Guo for studying so hard in order to come over to Japan and seek a better life. Not only for her, right? Because one of the reasons why she left the sewing factory, even though the pay is a lot better than what she will make in China, is because she wanted to work as a hostess so she can make a lot more money. Now, she was working illegally, so that's a little problem because, again, Japan does not deal with that kind of stuff. If they were to find Guo breaking the law, she will probably be deported. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because Guo will be making a lot of money to help her family. Her dad needs like a kidney transplant. Her brothers, she wants to send them to a good school so they can learn, give them a better life. But if she gets caught, then all of that could go away. So the fact that Lin was really trying to help her out, and he even hinted at Makoto's mother, saying that they could adopt Guo so she can start working legally in Japan. It was awesome. Lin is a very smart person, and I really did like Lin as a character. because he seems to have a lot of connections as well. He has some connections in Japan. He knew the leader of Donglong, even though they never met. He knew to seek out Makoto for help. So Lin, he speaks very good Japanese, even though he's from China. I mean, Makoto was very surprised. So Lin seems to be a very resourceful person, and I really did like him. So hopefully we get to see more of him. But yeah, overall, it was a good episode. I did like it because it did kind of, I could relate to this episode. We also got to see the leader of the Red Angels. We learned a little bit about him. He went to Chicago as a circus troupe, dancing and doing all that stuff. I really would like to know more about his backstory, how he went from being in like a troupe and dancing and doing what he loves to becoming like a gang leader in Ikebukuro. I mean, I would really want to know his backstory. I mean, it was kind of random to see him because we haven't seen him in about 2 episodes. So yeah, and really the biggest one for me was whenever Takeshi hinted that there could be a war, right? If the G-Boys get the order to drive Donglong out of their territory, it could be a full-on gang war, and that would probably be something I would really want to see. I want to see how gang wars would be over there in Japan and how this anime would depict them. Because they're definitely not afraid from violence. Again, we've seen the G-Boys get into a couple of fights here and there. And heck, even in this episode, we got to see Lin do Kung Fu. It was really awesome. Now, the last bit of the episode, of course, is Makoto's mother. She is goated. She is awesome. She understands that, them living in Japan is kind of like a blessing, right? Because they don't have to go through the hardships that some other people in other countries have to. Again, Guo and Lin are perfect examples. They were able to escape poverty because they worked hard, they learned Japanese, and they came over to Japan and are successful. But since Guo is not legal the way that Lin is, she's gonna struggle a little bit more, and that's when Makoto's mother kind of proposed to adopt Guo. Now, here's my theory. I feel like Guo, since she's gonna be involved with Makoto's family, maybe she might get in danger later on, especially if the Donglong group, again, the leader, was forced to let Guo go from the hostess club. So he might seek some retaliation against Makoto and Guo herself. So that could be a huge problem. I'm not gonna, rule that out. Something could happen. But Guo gets her happy ending. She gets to have a family, eat some good food, stay in Tokyo, and work legally and make a lot of money. If she goes back to the hostess club or a different hostess club, she can make a lot of money. She seems like a pretty girl. She can make a lot of money, help her father with the medical bills, and help her brothers get a great. But yeah, overall, good episode. I really want more from this anime though. I feel like this is like my most disappointing anime because again, my expectations were probably set way too high at the beginning of this series, and there was no way they were going to meet them. But hopefully we get some cool gang related stuff later on. But yeah, for this episode so far, it was okay episode. I did not mind it. It's definitely not the worst. It's definitely a lot better than the vlogging and the YouTuber episode. That was just horrible. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. Go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.